Hi everybody, so I am going to be doing another recreation from a book. This time, instead of the 1989 book, I'm looking at a book from 1996, and this is Mary Quant's book, or one of Mary Quant's book. This is The Ultimate Makeup and Beauty. So there are a number of different looks in here, inspired by different decades or different style inspirations. The name Mary Quant may sound familiar to some people. She did have a makeup line for quite some time, but was really especially well known for fashion. She is sometimes credited as the inventor of the miniskirt. She definitely popularized it. Think about the swinging 60s, the mod look in London, the really short mini dresses, and the colorful tights were all Mary Quant. So some of those images you may be thinking about when you kind of think of like a mod or sort of like that colorful 60s looks probably were Mary Quant fashion. So some of her makeup was really bold and colorful, and she really was influential at changing the beauty industry. But this look that I want to do is the 60s style. So it is a very dramatic look, but it's not very colorful. And that's what I love about revisiting these books and looking at the way that people were sort of instructed on how to do various styles of makeup. So this is called the 60s style, and it says distinctive dark smoky eyes and pale colored lips recreate the mood of the 1960s and the stylish mod look for which Mary Quant is so well known for. However, this dramatic eye makeup is definitely not for the faint-hearted. Charcoal shadow practically encircles the eyes, while the top and bottom lashes are lined for emphasis and thoroughly coated with black mascara. The smooth, finished base helps accentuate the smoldering eyes, and a light dusting of blusher gives the barest hint of a healthy glow. And then there are a couple of styling tips. It says for an even more dramatic contrast, choose a paler lip color such as white. Use only a very light dusting of blusher. Too much and you will look too healthy for the 1960s style. Dust loose powder underneath eyes to catch color while applying eyeshadow, then brush off afterwards. A sharp 60s bob is perfect for this look. Alternatively, try backcombing hair into a more unruly beehive style. And finally, for a complete 60s look, go for clothes that match. A black polo neck sweater worn with a monochrome pantsuit or miniskirt, for example. So I thought this was particularly relevant because although it's a simple look, I feel like this is a lot of what we are going to be seeing in the next couple of years. I've noticed this sort of style appearing on models for recent runway looks. So for like 2021 kind of fashion, we are seeing a lot of this, which absolutely makes sense because you have a lot of inspiration from different decades. So like the 2000s were very inspired by the 80s, and there was also that sort of 60s renaissance in the 2000s. And I hate to say it, but we are really seeing that late 90s, early 2000s renaissance creep up on us again. It's a little scary, but it is happening. And I want to do sort of a trend forecast, or just sort of my thoughts and opinions on trends for the upcoming year, and I thought this would be a relevant way to start doing that. So there are only 8 steps. It's relatively simple and there's not a whole lot of product. The first step is moisturize and apply a pale cake foundation all over the face and neck. So I don't have a cake foundation, so I went ahead and moisturized first so that was already taken care of. I'm just going to use a light little bit of foundation. So I have the MAC Waterweight foundation. I'm just going to use a little bit of that because it's a really good color match for me, but it is a very light match. And I know that there was definitely an emphasis on pale skin with a lot of the mod looks, and everything was really simple with the skin. So I thought that this would be a good base just to cover up some of those little spots and try to give myself a more even complexion. I miss my color corrector. Whenever I do these videos, color corrector is never part of it. Sometimes concealer isn't even mentioned either. And even if I don't stick to like the exact types of products used, I try to stick as closely as possible to the instructions just to see what the look looks like, because that's the whole point for me for doing these, is just to go off of the basic instructions given as well as the photos. So this is really just a very light bit of foundation over top of the moisturizer that I applied just prior to settling down here for filming. It didn't specify like a matte. It did say to moisturize, so I wanted to make sure I was pretty well moisturized and covered in that regard. I think that worked out pretty well. Again, very simple. Step number 2 for making the face is brush eyebrows into shape and then darken with a brown eyebrow pencil or eyeshadow. So I just grabbed my Brow Wiz because that's really my go-to brow pencil. It's nothing spectacular, it just says to darken. My brows are kind of unkempt right now. Okay, so brows are sufficiently darkened. Step number 3 is gently brush a soft charcoal eyeshadow onto the lids and halfway up to the brow and continue underneath the eyes that you almost create a circle. I decided to reach for this MAC palette. This is the Warm Neutral palette. So this is a pre-assembled MAC palette, but I thought that I would have the 2 shadows that I really needed in here. So I'll be using this shade right here up in the top, which is Dance in the Dark. I just thought it would be a little bit closer to that charcoal color as opposed to just like a black shadow. And blend it up and continue underneath the eye so that you almost create a circle. So I fully anticipate going in with more because there is a second part to part 3 basically, which is blending the charcoal shadow out. But because of my eye shape, I wanted to make sure that I could actually apply the charcoal shadow enough to be able to blend without blending like ridiculously high. I'm trying not to pick up too much on my brush because I didn't want to dig out powder to try and powder my under eye. I'm just trying to be a little bit more cautious of fallout. My eye is watering a little bit. I've been sneezing today. So I think that's a good place for right now. Like I said, I'll probably go in because I'm trying to line up with the photo as well. So the next part of step number 3 is blend a pearly beige shadow from the socket to the brow, under the lower lash line, and into the inner corner. So this middle shade on the bottom is what I found to be the closest shade. It's a satin shade. So I thought it looked closest to what it looked like in the photo, the image of the shadow. Okay, so that's the difference between blending it out with that beigey satin shade and then this eye. So I definitely do think it made the slightest difference blending it out. It's amazing that it's just 2 shadows. It kind of looks like it may be a little bit more in the photo, so misleading, because it looks to be a little bit more than 2 shadows going on, but I'm trying to stick to that. I just keep going back and forth between both eyes. It's not winged out or anything. So I don't have brow gel keeping my brows in place, so they're a little unruly. So I think I will end up going back in with a little bit more of that charcoal shade to deepen the lid. And then I'll probably take like a pencil brush to get a little bit more onto that bottom lash line, but there will be 2 different types of liner as well, so I think that will add to it. And blend. Pencil brush and that charcoal shade. This reminds me a lot of how I did my makeup in the early 2000s. It was mostly just eyeliner instead of eyeshadow. Definitely no like real blending anything out, but I do feel like that was sort of the general effect I was going for. So I think that's pretty good for the shadow. Step number 4 is line the top lash line with black liquid eyeliner, drawing outward slightly at the corner. So I do have a new liquid liner. This is from Physicians Formula. It is the Eye Booster 2-in-1 Lash Boosting Eyeliner in Serum in Black. I was at Walmart with my boyfriend and I mentioned, I was like, I'm just getting an eyeliner. I have to do it. I was like, I've been putting it off for too long, and he ended up buying it for me. I said he was part of the problem, because I said people are complaining that I'm like not buying makeup myself. Like I get PR gifts or stuff, and then I was like, you're contributing to the problem. I was going to buy this myself. He's very sweet. It's not a very pigmented black, so I'm just kind of, it just said to draw out slightly, but not like a wing. Next, step number 5 is curl eyelashes and apply at least 2 coats of mascara. So I never curl my lashes. Never sure if I'm doing it right. I used to curl my lashes all the time. I'm never sure how long to hold it for. And then just this Pixi mascara. Totally getting mascara onto my lid. Now I think I know why I don't curl my lashes very often, because it's very easy for me to get mascara on my lid. I never know what exactly makes a coat of mascara either. Like to me it could be just one brush through. That's like one coat, right? But I always see people apply like 30 coats. So I'm just wiggling through. Sometimes I feel like I apply a lot and then it just doesn't show up. So just trying to wiggle all of that mascara. Give me the lashy look without lashes. And I'm going to do the thing they tell you not to do. Blend in a little bit of that mascara fallout. Blend around a little bit on the side now that I have the mascara on. Kind of keep those circles there. The underneath my eye is pretty dark circly, and I don't think that's particularly just from the makeup either. I just think it's my dark circles. And then the step 6 is line the bottom inner rim of the eye with a black kohl pencil. So I'm going to use this one from Loreal. Just a black eyeliner. And in there. Bottom inner rim, so like waterline. Okay, just going to go back over because I do feel like I got like a tiny bit of fallout down my face a little bit. So there's no other makeup on my face, so just going to brush a little bit there. I do feel like it should be more. Like I do feel like there needs to be a little bit more, but next is blush. So it says to brush a pale pink blusher along the cheekbones, and then the styling tip, it said not to apply too much. So this is going to be the challenge for me because I definitely like my blush. And I'm using this one I have from Dior, which looks pretty vibrant and pink, but I think it's not going to apply that intensely along the cheekbones. Okay, blush, and then the final step is color lips with a pale beige lipstick. And I'm going to use this one from MAC. This is the Samantha Ravndahl lipstick. I do want to go back now, and I know what I said I wasn't going to do it, but I do want to go back because I'm looking at the image and I think I need I need a little bit more of that black, that charcoal shade. Okay, so I think that about covers it. I feel like it's really dark and intense, but I'm gonna come back with hair and then show you the completed look. Okay, so here we are, the finished look with hair, which I think just sells it. Now it makes sense. Nothing ever looks quite right when I'm just sitting here like a cone head, like I always feel so goofy, but I feel like this works really well. I feel like it is very dark, like it is very dark. It is very dramatic, but I feel like I get that sort of like 60s vibe from it especially. And it's so simple. There wasn't a whole lot of product used. It didn't take a whole lot of time. Yes, I had to build up the eyeshadow because I was exercising caution. And I don't know if it was like the exact right tone, but I do feel like it was pretty close. And I feel like the overall vibe is there. So like when you compare the look from the book to like what this is, I feel like it's pretty darn close. So anyway, this was a lot of fun. There are a couple of other looks in this book that I want to do. There's an autumn look, and then there is like a spring sort of fairy look complete with flower crown that of course I would have to do. So there's a couple of other sort of look inspired things I want to do from various books. So let me know if you have any requests or suggestions, or if there are any sort of like makeup application style videos that you would be interested in seeing. I do like this sort of historical angle to it where I'm looking at tutorials and pictorials from past decades. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in to XLmas. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry I haven't been able to get to everybody's comments. I've been trying to read as many as I possibly can and trying to respond and react to everybody's comments, but there's a lot more than I was expecting. So I'm very grateful for everybody. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I hope we get a chance to chat soon. Bye for now.